Hello, thank you for attending. This is SeeWing Yee from the Yee Real Estate Network, and today's topic is Central Florida Update. And our guest is, of course, is none other than Jim Gillum of the realtydoctors.com. Before we will talk about this slide presentation, I just want to share with you guys that many of you know, right? If you've been with my network for a long time, for the past decade, our investment network has been working with Jim Gillum all these years. And I mean, I'm not going to make this a long what has transpired, but all I can say is for the past 10 years, Jim Gillum has taken our mostly California investors to buy turnkey new construction cash flow properties all over Central Florida. I mean, many different locations. I mean, I'm not going to say it, but I just remember like 8 years ago, whatever, new construction, homes in somewhere in that we bought, our investors bought, like it was selling for what, 150K, whatever. Now it's like 300,000. Like three years ago, we were promoting like, in for example, Winter Haven or in Ziphilis outside Tampa. New construction a few years ago, like 160K, now like 250, 280K. I mean, and cash flow, right? Easy to rent. I mean, Jim Gillum is the leading turnkey provider in California, in Florida. All these years, she know where to, where to promote, what area, what neighborhood, what builder, what community, what new construction community. So our investor has made a lot of money over the years, and they have Jim to thank. Jim, you have affected hundreds and hundreds of not only our California investors to build their wealth through cash flow, great high quality, great tenant cash flow, high appreciation property over years, but you work with other investment groups as well, many investment groups much larger than mine. So you have done tons of business, and I love Florida. I love Central Florida, and wherever you go, I trust you. We trust you. We will follow you to the end of the earth.
Oh, you're so nice. So nice. And I have to say, I think we've been together at least a decade. And what's really interesting is that what's happened in the last 2 years, 3 years, has made me look really smart. Who could have said? So some of the interesting things the feedback I'm getting back from people is, for example, that they bought, for example, in Ponciana, great builder, Brock Holloman, really good friend of mine now. And he listened to everything that we were saying and now owns 78 houses himself, and he's 28 years old. But he is also a great builder, and a lot of your people bought houses from him for $195,000 that were renting for $1,600, and now today they're worth $300,000, and they're renting for $2,150. This is within 18 months. So I look like a genius. And then others bought in different areas. We had bought from D.R. Horton. We had bought from different builders that worked for me in Sebring and in Ocala and in New Smyrna Beach. Those houses are worth well over $300,000. And they started out at 189, and I think we stopped buying them around 225, because I always feel like there's a spot where investors should be. You don't want to go too high, because you go too high, your cash flow is not going to be there and you might get stuck. So here's the question. Okay. So I know people don't think, and I want to remind everybody what happened in 205, 206, 207. We all thought, oh, it's only $100 negative. It'll make up. Okay. Let's not do that. Let's stay with people that build for investors. And what my builders do is they build for you. So, for example, and you'll see, we have houses for $198,000 that if it were built and was sold to an owner occupant now, it would be $220,000. So everything you buy from us, we have built-in equity. We take care of everything. I'm going to go through this presentation. You just tell me when to start.
Jean, before you go, okay, let me say one thing. I took a peek of your product, okay, what we're gonna discuss right now. But okay, I say this to my investors, you know, just listen to me, investors out there, you know, watch my lips. What Jean Gillum is about to promote right now is a new construction. I believe it's less than 200,000. Think about this. Think about this. I mean, Jing and I have searched long and hard. You know, I have a global understanding of the US investment market. You are not going to find any new construction homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot, whatever.
On a quarter of an acre.
In like Jing's about to show you, anywhere in the country, you're not going to find any new construction, any new builds, this low price, and rent it for such a decent cash flow, whatever, anywhere else in the country, not in Texas, not in North Carolina, not in South Carolina, not in Tennessee, not in California, not in any of the 49 states. So what you're getting is, plus it's a great area. I mean, fast growing area. Florida, Central Florida will have years of growth. I mean, okay, I'll just stop. I just let Jing do it. Go ahead, Jing. I mean, I hate to give it away, but go for it.
One of the things that I think what's really interesting is about what's happened in the last 2 years with people migrating to Florida. Over 35,000 people came just from New York, and you could probably multiply that. That was during the pandemic in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Californians, huge amount, okay? So people are migrating here, why? Because we're relatively open compared to the rest of the nation. We have no state income tax. So if you're gonna leave somewhere, this was the time to do it. Plus, as one of my investors said, he moved from New York and he sold a house that was it was a very modest house for about $750,000, about 1,800 square feet, a 3-2, older house. He sold it for $750,000 and moved to Florida, and for $1 million in Boca Raton bought a mansion. So that's basically, we are what I have always said, we're cheap and cheerful. That means that the houses you see, if they were in California, they'd be $1.5 million, and they're $189 or $198 or $129,000. So you see it, you go, why? How come? Well, it's because Florida is cheap and cheerful. We still have land, and we don't have a lot of taxes. And you know, I'm not really a person that get into politics, but one thing that is great about Florida is they believe that the state as a whole believes that everybody has a brain and you can make a decision, okay? So a lot of people are making a decision to move here. I used to say that it took 45 to 60 days to rent something. I just had to rent in less than 15 days. Why? And they moved in, by the way. And why? Because people are moving here and they have their U-Haul in the back of their cars. So they are not fooling around, they're coming. So let's just go through this little quick thing. And I just really wanted you to see what's going on in Florida.
Oh, the reception is not that good. I don't hear anything.
Can't hear it?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, what that said was that we were in the 17th. Florida as a state is in the $3 trillion. That was 2 years ago. And that it would be, if it were just another country, it would be the 17th largest economy in the world. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one. And I'm sorry that you
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. And I can send this to you.
Yeah, you can send the YouTube link to me, and I will upload it on our newsletter.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
All right, so let's see if we can get this going. Okay, so I'm having a trouble going on to the next slide. Okay, so I've been a realtor for many, many years, over 42 years, but I've only been dealing with investors for the last 19 of them. And I will say that longevity is very important. You're going to find there are people that are trying to copy what I do, but if you have a long relationship with people, like with SeeWing for over 10 years, if he needs something, he can call me right away and I'll take care of it. We don't fool around. I've been in the top 15 realtors in the nation last year and the year before, but probably in the top 5 in Florida. So we do everything. Our builders build only for us. So they don't have to do marketing. They don't have to have a model. They don't have to have a sales force. They don't have to choose color schemes. So you're going to buy with equity, built-in equity. Our houses are complete, nothing else to add. They are tenant resilient. So what does that mean? You don't have to go out and put up a garage door open. You don't have to put up blinds. Everything is there. They're all cement block, which is very important in Florida because it's going to keep your insurance down. You'll see the average insurance on these houses is $35 a month. People go, how could that be? And the reason is because they are built to 2021 code. So we know that 10K people are moving to Central Florida every week, okay? And it's the #1 tourist destination in the world. It's the largest retirement community in the United States. It's the villages. And we're going to talk about that because some of the houses we're building are around the villages, and the people that will live in those houses will service the 55 and over community. It's the #1 place that millennials are moving to, and they're moving in droves to the Tampa area. And so we're going to get some new builders over there to build some houses for them to rent from you. It's the #1 convention center in the world now, and it has the largest metropolitan area in the Southeast, the Tampa, Orlando, which is really why you want to invest in this area. It has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the US, and the average home was 247, probably around 280 now. We have over 275 days of sunshine. We have 2 deep water ports, Cape Canaveral and Port Tampa. It's the only place in the United States capable of putting a person into space, which we saw this week. 4 human beings just like us went up. That's so right. That area, and I have a new builder building houses for me in Space Coast, in that area, in Palm Bay. And that area is just teeming with opportunities. And so we're building single family homes there. All of our single family homes are built on what we call infill lots. So it's not in a community. So it's an infill lot. What does that mean by an infill lot? It means that the lots, you go down the street and there's a lot. That's the one we buy. And all the other houses or the lots are already built. So we don't have to really worry about an over saturation of rentals. They're all 1/4 of an acre, which if you buy from D.R. Horton or one of those, they probably get about 8 to an acre. And it's a smaller lot because that's how they do it. We have the #1 beach in the United States, which is called Clearwater Beach, and the largest university in the United States called University of Central Florida. And that's in Orlando. And there's many, 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 many satellites of it. So, and the University of Central Florida gives more, it's people that graduate that go into the aerospace industry. And we have no state income tax, big thing for somebody coming from New York or California, like 13, 14% big, not having to pay that. We're a judicial state, so we're landlord friendly. You can get a tenant out and if you have to, within a month. We don't normally have that problem because people don't want to be evicted. If they're evicted, they're never going to rent again. 3rd largest state by population. We give a lot of different companies tax breaks to come here, and everybody knows that the big Wall Street company just moved to South Florida. They're just coming here in droves just because of the taxes, because the people don't have to pay state income tax, because of the laws here are friendly to enterprise. There's more second homes than any other state and the largest appreciation in the nation. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay. SeeWing will tell you that about a year and a half ago, I was selling houses in Palm Bay. They were 215. And now they're like 280, 290,000. So that's what's happened. The ones out in Ocklawaha went from 140,000 to 198,000. And with that went with that appreciation also went the rents. So the rents went from $1,400 to $1,600. So everything went together. Remembering that part of the problem we have now is the building costs have all gone up about 25%. So these builders are really having a problem in that regard. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Villages in Ocklawaha, because the Villages is a city in itself. It has 3 different town centers. There's over 300,000 people that live out there. It's a 55 or over community, so you can't live there or own a house unless you're 55 or over. It has a lot of hospitals, a lot of different things like that, because as people get older, they need care. So that's the kind of people that would be living in our houses. There are schools. So I have a school teacher in one of my houses, and I've actually bought 10 houses in this whole area. So there are a lot of jobs, a lot of good jobs. And the Villages just announced that they, well, not just, maybe about, I don't know, 8 months ago, a year, that they have bought 8,000 more acres, and they're building 43,000 more houses for the people 55 and over to live in. Now, why is this so important? The average person at the Villages has over an 815 credit score, and they have lots of money. So they want to have all those things. They want to go out to dinner. They want to get their hair done. They want to have somebody take care of their lawn, their car, their golf carts. They have 30 some odd golf courses that they get to play for free for the rest of their life. So that's why the Villages is so important. So we have a whole area, and it's called Ocklawaha, where people that is very close to the Villages, about 15, 20 minutes away. And those people will be probably working around the Villages. Now, the other area is Ocklawaha. Ocklawaha, huge area right in the middle of the state. And it is the largest, has the largest equestrian center in the world. It also is known as the horse capital of the United States. It is Florida, that's the horse capital of the United States. That's pretty remarkable. Anyway, also it is in the middle of the state. So we have a lot of distribution centers like Chewy Dog Food, Little General Foods, Amazon, all that. There is in that area also a Northrop Grumman. So there's lots of jobs. There's no shortage of jobs. So that's in Ocklawaha. So in the Villages, we have what we call the HANA model. That's okay. It's not in the Villages, but we say that it's near the Villages, and we assume that people that are going to rent from you here, they probably work in or around the Villages. I mean, they might be. I had a school teacher, and her husband was a car mechanic. So all those kind of things. And this is a picture of the house. Everything is tenant resilient. So we have plank vinyl flooring. We went away from tile because tile cracks. You can see how beautiful they are. All full-size stainless steel appliances, granite in the kitchens and in the bathrooms. So there's a 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and there's 1332 or 33 square feet under air. That means that's probably 2,000 normal, but we don't count the garage. We don't count spaces like that, we count under air where people live. Okay, so the market price now on these is 220, and you can buy this for 198,000 with a 20% down payment. So I have this at 4% fixed, but remember, I just got two of them at 3.5. I'm closing on one next week. So you can, it's probably lower than, but I put 4% because either way, you know, if you are a person that has over 10 houses, you're going to have to go for a non-conventional loan that can do that for you. You do too. Richard Avanti can do that. I think it's about 4.5%. But for a regular person that's in the first 10 of their Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and remember, if you're married, do not put two people on the same mortgage, because the husband can have 10 houses, the partner or wife can have 10 houses. Do not go on the same mortgage. That's really you know, something you have to remember. So the property tax is around $200 a month, probably a little bit less, but I'm putting 200. Now, let me tell you why I put them up a little. It's 0.95 is the property taxes, but I put them up because you just never know when these cities are going to put them up. So I don't want anybody to get mad at me. The insurance is $35 a month. It used to be 29 because we had one carrier, but that carrier decided they were not going to do insurance on houses less than 250,000. And isn't that nice? This is 198,000 with about $20,000 worth of equity in it. And the management fee is about 124. We have a management company that is owned by my son and one of my investors, who's called the Realty Medics. And so your total payment is around 1115. Now, if you got 1550 for it, you're going to make $434 a month. If you get 50, if you get six, anywhere above that. Now I just got 1550 and 1575, the two that I rented about a month ago. They like to rent them for less and get somebody in right away as opposed to waiting. So you can also buy this particular house for cash. Now, what's the difference? Okay, why? And I'm telling you this, that you can buy it for $189,900. And why? Because if you buy cash, you put the whole amount up in an escrow fund with a lawyer, and she will give the builder draws, 7 draws that will pay the builder to pay for the house. And why is he giving you $10,000 off? Because he doesn't have to get a mortgage for it. And instead of paying somebody 10% or 5.5% mortgage, he doesn't have to do that. So he's giving you a reduced price of $189,900. And I have 5 of them going like that. I have a friend that I got into 5 of them doing that. So there's a lot of good things going on here.
Right, good.
What it looks like, they're very beautiful. Of course, this is before it was really finished, because there are in the bathroom, you see the granite, but there are nice mirrors there. The kitchen is very nice. And the flooring goes throughout. So it's not like it's only in the living room. It's throughout, even in the bedrooms. Okay, so now we're going to go to Ocala. So that's the same house, basically, but with a lot more upgrades. They're both on a 0.25 of an acre, more or less. It could be 0.28 or 0.22. You will not know the difference. But this one is located in a prime area in Ocala. They're all stainless steel appliances. Now, another little bit of difference is they'll have regular tile in the bathroom. So it's upgraded bathrooms, upgraded kitchen. And they also have a covered lanai or porch, whatever you want to call it, in outside in the back. And that's really nice in Florida to have that, because people can actually just screen it in, and then they have a screened in porch. They have a tray ceiling in the master bedroom, stone exterior front, upgrades on the kitchen appliances, and a larger hip roof. So it's got a lot of upgrades. And here's a real big difference. All those upgrades make a difference, but the location. When we started selling in Ocala, the lots were 10, 15 grand. Now they're 25 to 30, 35,000. That's number one. Now the costs have gone up to build, so that's why all these things have gone up. But if you want to pay cash, you can. The builder is paid after he completes a task. So after he puts the block up, he's paid for that. After he puts the wiring in, he's paid for that. It's paid after. Now, people say, well, what happens if he dies? Well, there's 4 other partners. That's number one. What happens if he goes broke? He is being paid with a cash deal for what he has finished. So you should be in a good position. Okay, so here's it's very similar. It's the HEATH model, and it's not in Ocklawaha. It's in Ocala. Oh, I gotta change that. All right, anyway. So it's 235, it's actually 235.40 what it's worth, and it's 229. So you can see even at that, because the rents go up to $1,650 to $1,750, you're still gonna have $400 to $500 cash flow. So this is in Ocala, okay? And of course, it's the same kind of beautiful, little bit higher end finishes. So you can see, like right here, there's tile in the bathrooms, that kind of thing, and also the tray ceiling in the master bedroom, and and all of them have both houses have the fans. Okay, so this is the property management. It's my son Tom and his partner Ben. Ben was one of my investors. I met him through the how did I meet him? He was working at NASA, and I used to put my signs out, want to buy, and that's how I met him. And he is an engineer by trade, and he decided he didn't want to do that anymore, and he's doing this now. And my son Tom is my son. He's a real estate broker and also an investor. So they both invest, which is important. And then they it's an 8% management fee. They guarantee that that it's rented within the first 15 days. If it's not, they're not going to charge their management fee. They say that the average person now stays in some place for about 40 months. So they have a lot of good things going on. They have about 34 people that work there. So it's not a little company. So it's not a mom and pop, and I'm out, with a mom and pop, sometimes somebody's on vacation and the whole world stops. Well, this is not that kind of a company. So that's what I do. And I would love you to come and, ask for an interview. I talk to people daily. I can send you this. I will fix that one slide, SeeWing, so it's correct. Yeah. And SeeWing will have that changed. And so that's what I do. And I hope that you'll invest with me. I do have, what happens is after you decide whether you're going to invest and you do invest, I introduce you to 3 mortgage companies, 2 insurance companies, and the property management. And we get you going. And then once you're done, you just wait. And then we tell you 60 days out. One thing I can say right now, you don't have to I don't believe you have to lock your mortgage and pay that, because the interest rates are, have seemed to be going down rather than up. And it's a cost that you can probably don't have to do.
Yeah, so Jing, I have several questions for you, of course, on behalf of our investors. My first question is, what's the estimated time of completing all these homes?
Okay, so it actually only takes him 3 months to build, but we say 160 days. Why do we say 160 days? Because, and right now it's really taking, he said, around 4.5 months, because of all the delays. Everybody's building everywhere. So the cities are backlogged. Every time they do something, that it's not like they just build a house. They have to have the city come out and say, okay, the wiring's good. Okay, this is good. So to get their CO is going to take a little bit longer. Also, they never know if what's going to show up. So sometimes the refrigerator doesn't show up, or sometimes the garage door doesn't open up. So takes a little bit more time. So we say 160 days or less.
Okay, so the first step for investors, after they consult with you and they decided to buy, you help them pick the lots. So once the investor pick their lots after consulting with you, what's the earnest deposit to pay for the lot?
It's 20%. Okay, so So if you just do a straight buy, which you put 20% down on in either case, it's a 20% deposit. It's sent to the title company, but the title company releases it to the builder. Now, why is that? Because he can get a lower interest rate if he has 20% down than if he had $5,000 down. And in this day and age, what's going on with the builders is not only has everything gone up 25% with building costs, even to borrow money for them is gone up. And I don't know why, because you would think that there's so much money around that it would be just the other way around, but it is not. So it will be released to him. Now remember, there's 4 people in this company, the building company in Ocala, the one in Palm Bay, the new builder. We haven't decided what he's going to do, but probably it will be less. But Palm Bay, it's just hard to get lots right now. So just think 20% down, and that's that the way it will go.
Okay, so before just set the expectation. I mean, prior to this pandemic, prior to this builder shortage and the lumber cost acceleration cost that we experienced in the past 12 to 18 months. Prior to that, the earnest deposit is only a few $1,000s. So now builders, not just your builders, almost every builders out there in the country, they're requiring more down because as a deposit, as an earnest deposit. In our case, 20%, that's fine. So that by putting more down, the investor is helping the builder, to cover the cost of construction, like you just said. And then, but this money is being held at an escrow company, maybe a title company. So ensure that anything goes wrong, the investor, get the money back, right? In worst case scenario, is that the situation?
The 20% deposit goes directly to the builder.
Okay.
So you got to be sure you want to do this, okay?
Right.
And that's a little bit different than if it was held in escrow. We don't do that anymore. I don't even with national builders, they're not doing that anymore because it's gotten out of hand what people have to pay. So let me explain how this works. So it's really interesting. When a builder builds a house, right? So they go to a lender, right? So it could be a hard money lender, it could be a regular bank. They go to a lender and they get a mortgage to build this house. So say this house, and remember, builders are only making $15,000 to $20,000, if that much, on a house nowadays. So they go to the builder, especially on ours. So they go to the bank and they say, okay, Mr. Bank, I want to borrow some money. So how much are you going to charge me? Well, if you have 25% down, okay, as compared to what you're going to borrow, we're going to give it to you at 5%. If you don't, we're going to give it to you at 10%. So here's the difference. At the beginning, it doesn't make much difference because he's already bought the lot. Now he's going on to the second part, starts borrowing money from the bank. So now he's got $30,000 from the bank. And in the third month, maybe he's got $50,000 from the bank. Now he's paying on how much he's borrowed, okay? So at the end, when the house is all done and we have a CO, right? He's now paying on the whole amount that he borrowed to buy. So if he borrowed $160,000 and he's paying 10% interest, he's paying $1,600 a month. Okay, so normally he would figure that into his business, but right now he can't. Why? Well, we had a house that couldn't close for 2 months because we didn't have a garage door, okay? Or we had some houses that couldn't close because the refrigerators didn't. Okay, so he's paying $1,600 a month because of that. So now his $15,000 to $20,000 he's making is dwindling. And that's why if you buy it for cash, you get a special price because he doesn't have to pay that interest rate. Or if you put 20% down, that translates for him to 25% down, and he gets a loan for, say, 5% instead of 10%. So that's why you're getting, one of the reasons you're getting this house for less because you're an investor. 99.120% of my investors close. They don't fool around, right? But if he had an owner occupant buying it, even if he sold this house for 220, right? Now, he had an owner occupant and they didn't close when he was ready, he would have to put it back on the market and sell it to another owner occupant, right? So he puts it on another, and he's got another 60 days before that person's ever going to get funded. And owner occupants are notorious for doing silly things so that they don't get funded. So every month he doesn't close at the end, it's costing him big money. So that's why they like to be working with investors. They also like because we don't choose anything. There's a right-handed house and a left-handed house. There's a gray house and there's a beige house. He does everything, okay? We don't choose because we have two different ones and they're beautiful, and that makes it much easier for him. There's no change orders. There's not saying, oops, I want a pink something. It doesn't happen. It's just the way it is.
Well, Jing, I totally understand what's going on, right? There's so many changes going on in real estate market these days. So, it's just as an investor, we need to understand this is the new business model. This is the new game in town. We have to adapt and be open to this kind of new ideas. At the end of the day, Jing, I say it again with all honesty and transparency. I love your product for a long time, and your product for many years, and your product moving forward is really no different. Investor, you understand what investors want. You have a built to rent model. Built to rent model is up and coming. A lot of people have been talking about it over the past few years. In fact, John Burns Consulting. Have you heard of John Burns Consulting?
No. Mm-hmm.
Very prestigious, very reputable consultant to the real estate industry. He consults to builders and to developers and to real estate investors all over the country. If you click on John Burns Consulting, he talk about the great real estate markets going on. He talk about the build to rent model, where very unique. So you are at the forefront, Jingilam, believe it or not. You are at the forefront of this new concept, build to rent. That means you work with builders, only sell to investors. There's no need to do multiple offers in an open market. Investors no need to overbid 20, 30, 40% above asking price in the open market. You know what I'm saying? You are locked into the purchase price. You're locked in when you put your deposit, your 20% deposit, and the builder will quickly have the funding available without any issues to finish a home in 3 to 6 months or whatever. The end of the day, it's a win-win situation for the owner investor, for the builder, for us as a middle people, you and I. Everybody win. I mean, you have good cash flow, great interest rate, great product that you're not going to get anywhere else. I say it again, you're not going to find new construction homes for 200 grand anywhere. So this is a truly amazing product. So before we go, so I know you have a large database of investors, but I mean, how many lots do you have available? I mean, what is it?
We just got, I think, about 24, 25 new ones. So if you're interested, it's not recommended to do a 1031 exchange with a new house.
Right.
If you think you're going to sell your house, say, in March, and you could go under contract today, you could do a 1031 exchange. But you can't call up and say, I'm going to close my house tomorrow and I need to do a 1031 exchange. You can't, it's virtually kind of impossible because we don't know that this house will be done in time. So that's number one. And number two, I would say that if you're doing a 1031 exchange now, be very careful because there's not much available. And no matter where it is, there's bidding wars. On a used house, there's bidding wars. First of all, they're all up way more than they're worth. And then when you get 4 or 5 people that start bidding on it, it doesn't make sound it's not good for investors. So my suggestion is that if you're going to do a 1031, posture yourself correctly. Buy or go under contract with the house way before you close on your other house. Then you put your own money up, and the 1031 exchange will reimburse you. But this way, it's going to be done. I suppose there's other parts of the United States that aren't as exciting as, say, Florida. But one thing we do have is we have a lot of reasons why people are moving here. We have low taxes compared to the rest of the structures of the United States. And we're cheap and cheerful, as always.
Sounds good, Jean. Well, before we great presentation. I'm very, very excited, obviously. So I have to say that we have to create a sense of urgency for investors, and you can't procrastinate. I mean, if for our investors, if you want this kind of product, you have to contact Jean quickly, reserve your lot, pay your 20% down payment, earnest deposit, and watch your equity grow over time. Once you close escrow in a few months, 3 to 6 months, give or take, and then you're gonna, everything's turnkey. Jean Gillum is a total one-stop shop. What more can you ask for, right? So, do you have any last parting words for motivation for our investors before we are done with this presentation?
Well, I always say to everybody, okay, so say you need to borrow money, right? And you have a very wealthy father, uncle, friend, and you go to that person and say, I'd like to borrow $1 million to do some investment. Could you lend it to me at 3.5% 30-year fix? Well, I gotta say, there's only one person that I know in this United States that will do that, and that's called Uncle Sam. That's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. That is a gift that we've all been given, and it's your right to get 10 of these wonderful mortgages. So use them, and remember that, I just bought some houses for my grandkids, right? And I'm looking at this thing, and I'll be like 104 or 103, whatever it is, when the 30 years is up, right? Really? And they're still willing to give me these mortgages? Even if you have more than 10 in it, that's 4.5%, the average all across the United States and the world since 5,000 years is 8%. So 4.5 is really inexpensive. And remember, you have a lot of tax write-offs if you buy it outright. You can do a cost segregation and get accelerated depreciation. So there's a lot of reasons why you do this. And the most important reason now is you're borrowing it. The only country in the whole world that has a 30-year fixed mortgage is the United States of America. So take advantage of that. Tell your friends and everybody else, take advantage of it. And you don't have to do it you don't have to do a big, do a lot of little ones. You're going to make a lot of money in the end, and you're going to be able to sleep at night because money's coming in. Do not buy anything that's over what we call, it's different states. If you're going to get $5,000 rent, okay, maybe you could buy, a $500,000 house, okay? But think of this, you're going to buy a house for 189, 200,000 or 220, whatever they are, 229, and you're going to get rents from 1,550 to 1,700, 1,650, something like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
And without an HOA. But once you get into that $300,000 mark or something, you have to get a lot of rent, and maybe it's not so good. So stay where the investors are, cheap, careful, entry-level housing. That's where you're going to make your money.
Absolutely, Jean. I couldn't say it better. I have hundreds of YouTube videos to talk about all of these kind of things you just talked about. So thank you, Jean Gillum, for realtydoctors.com. Thank you so much. And for doing presentation. We need to do more, monthly video presentations similar to this. So looking forward to working with you moving forward continually. So thank you so much, Jing. And
Thank you.
yeah, to SeeWing Yee from the Yee Listen Network. Thanks for everybody for attending. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good, we're good.